Hey, what's going on, Guardians? TBL here, and today we got some very exciting news from both Bungie and IGN in the form of the next IGN first video on Destiny 2. Today's video was all about crafting an exotic weapon, a brand new exotic weapon to the game titled the Coldheart Exotic Trace Rifle. That's right, we're getting a look at a brand new weapon today, and it looks pretty cool. So we got a couple of videos today. First off, we got the official unveiled trailer for the new Coldheart Exotic Trace Rifle. This is going to be available to Guardians as a pre-order bonus for pre-ordering Destiny 2, but it will be made available later on for all players on around December 15th. And so the first video was mainly just a trailer showing off the Coldheart weapon, which looks to be an energy-based Omalon exotic trace rifle that's just kind of a laser beam that fires a continuous stream of damage at opponents. Now, the other video we got today went into detail about the weapon and featured Bungie writer Jill Shar and art designer Jesse Van Dijk. And that's where we got to see a lot of this new weapon in action. The Coldheart is going to be an Omalon-based exotic trace rifle, the first of its type in a brand new weapon class, although it's the only one in that weapon class for right now. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. That uses a liquid fuel for the weapon as well as liquid coolant. This weapon fires a straight precision beam that players will have to hold onto targets in order to deal maximum damage. It's going to have a lot of recoil based on what we saw and what we heard that players are going to have to manage, but if you can keep that beam on target, you'll be able to deal significant damage over time. Now, it's important to note that this rifle is capable of dealing precision damage, and the longer you hold it on a target, of course, the more damage you'll do. I know in Destiny we already have laser beam-esque weapons with like fusion rifles and the sleeper simulant, but this is actually the first time we've ever gotten a gun that's just a continuous beam of damage. And that is going to be exactly what the Coldheart offers you. Now, they went into detail stating that this is a brand new type of weapon called a trace rifle, but that it's the only gun currently in the game that fits this archetype, but that could change in the future if they decide they like the way the Coldheart is going. And personally to me, that sounds great. I already think it looks like a really interesting type of weapon. We've never really had anything like this in Destiny before, but if you're a Halo fan, you might recognize it as being somewhat similar to the old Sentinel beam. So that's certainly a bit of a callback right there. But that's pretty much everything we learned about the Coldheart today. Again, to review, it's in a new weapon archetype called a trace rifle. This weapon is going to shoot a linear beam that does more damage over time, but its recoil is going to ramp up the longer you hold that trigger. It's from the Omalon Foundry, and of course, it's the only trace rifle currently in the game. Now, one last question that I had for the Coldheart itself is what element this weapon is, because they kind of hid the HUD for it throughout both of the videos we got today, and now it certainly looks like it's maybe a new frost or ice-based element in Destiny 2, but we don't have any real confirmation of that right now or not, and it could just very well be an arc damage weapon. Although, to be perfectly fair, it did have at least one little emblem that showed up very quickly throughout the video that looked like it was an ice element emblem. So you can certainly build up some speculation from that. All I know is I can't wait to see more from this thing. But alright, Guardians, that's pretty much it for everything we learned about the Coldheart Trace Rifle today. Again, just to summarize things, it's a brand new weapon in a brand new archetype called a Trace Rifle. This weapon is going to shoot a linear beam that does more damage the longer the beam is activated. So the longer you're holding that trigger, the more damage this gun's going to do. But of course, the longer you're holding the trigger, the more recoil this gun is going to have, making it harder to stay on target. It is capable of dealing precision damage, and it's an Omalon Foundry exotic. And of course, the Coldheart is currently the only trace rifle weapon Bungie has in store, but they could turn it into its own archetype later on. And the weapon will be available to all Guardians who have pre-ordered Destiny 2 immediately upon launch. And for everyone else who didn't, the weapon will become available for the rest of you Guardians on December 15th, 2017. But anyways, that's it for this one, guys. Be sure to let us know what you all think of the Coldheart Trace Rifle down in the comment section below. Are you excited for this possibly new weapon archetype? Be sure to let us know. But we're out for now. Make sure you're staying tuned to Planet Destiny, where we will be continuing our ongoing coverage of Destiny 2. As always, I am TheBlackLink. You Guardians, stay frosty.